So let's talk about the story that happened at Comic-Con. So Comic-Con for me started on Friday. So what happened was that I had a friend who came out of town because he's a vendor at Comic-Con. He got me a vendor pass for to help them set up shop. So basically the first day was completely messed up. I was so mad. So in order for me to do the vendor pass, I had to go. It was him, my friend, his sister, and his sister's daughter. We all went to, so they were staying at a hotel that was close to the event. So they picked me up. I stayed in the hotel, slept in the couch. Then we woke up, got some breakfast. Okay. You're not going to hear this on the pod because I was like busy crying up a storm in the pod and I just didn't really talk much. I just couldn't talk. So just to give you guys a word of warning, you're not going to hear me talk a lot in the next episode of the podcast. Like I'm crying up a storm and I can't stop crying during that time. And I'll explain why. But basically, after we got to the con, I was already stressed. They told me they didn't want me to stress at this party. They told me, or at this con, they didn't want me to stress at all because I'm a person that I stress when I go to live events. I overthink things. I'm like thinking who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. I'm overthinking all the time. I hate it. I hate that I'm like this. I hate it. I want you guys to understand that I hate this. This is something I'm actively working on. I don't know what it is, but I always overthink things. We are trying to find the entrance. They told my friend's sister nothing. We didn't know where to go. We didn't know where to put the stuff in, where to bring the stuff in, where anything was. So they said, so we ended up stopping, asking a person, and then they were like looking for a parking. We didn't know where to go. It was crazy. It was so crazy. I wanted to lose my damn mind. Anyways, we found a parking that was relatively near the place that we needed to go. We unload the car. I'm mostly doing it, and the daughter's doing it. Just us two, just doing everything. Meanwhile, my friends have autism, ADHD, and the various different kinds of mental illnesses. And theoretically, though I have not been diagnosed, I have a suspicion that I'm probably going through it too. So the thing is that I don't want to say that I have it because I don't have it legally, but I feel like I do. Anyways, I started just like in this hyperfixation because everybody is going into the same entrance to get their stuff in. And so I'm seeing everybody, all the vendors set up. And I thought I was going to see celebrities and stuff. Nope, no celebrities, none at all. They only activated the tables for the Bluey voice actor, the Peach voice actor, Courage the Cowardly Dog's actor was like at the end, but like I didn't see them. They weren't there yet. So we just kind of were like setting it up. People were setting it up. And so we kind of just sat there. Eventually, we're trying to figure it out. And my friend and his sister are stressing out. Now, please understand that my friend, I understand where he's coming from, but I swore I told him, why did you come? Why did you come to this? You're not mentally prepared to do this. You're not mentally prepared to come to this event because he had literally lost his mother the Sunday prior. Like his mother passed away the Sunday prior. And he said that he wanted to get away. They were cremating her and all this stuff. So he was going through a massive loss. But at the same time, he was trying to keep face of the whole situation. So he was going through this weird sense of emotions. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be here. Why are you here? And the thing is that like, so his sister is like literally on edge. Now, this is not his biological sister. I should make the mention of that. They just call each other brother and sister because they're relatively close. But basically, the sister is like freaking out. Like the sister's freaking out because she's like on edge, just making sure that he's okay. Right. And then he was worried about me being okay. I'm like, no, dude, you need to worry about you being okay. And so like at this point, I'm like, Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm trying to not be mean, but at the same time, this was really ruining this time thing here, because I'm like doing all the stuff as much as I can, but the sister started to stress out. He started to stress out. They kept talking about autism, and they're saying, Will, you have autism. I think you have autism. And like, I'm just like, what is going on here? What is going on? What are you doing? So I freaked out for a minute. I freaked out for actually a lot. I freaked out a lot, but I was keeping it cool. On the outside, it looked like I didn't care. On the inside, I was dying and I wanted to go home. And I'm like, I should have never gone here. I should have never gone here. I should never have come. And I'm ending up setting the whole thing by myself. I ended up setting the whole thing. I had no idea where anything went, whatever happened. Then they left me there by myself for 2 hours. And I'm literally sitting here at this booth for 2 hours where they're trying to get food. The con started to let people in early. Like the VIPs were coming in early and customers were coming, and I didn't have cash. I didn't have access to the Square reader. I had nothing. So they had all these people could have potentially been coming. 2 potential customers came and I couldn't say anything. I was quiet, I was scared, and I was by myself in this situation. And then so I end up losing my crap. By the time they came back, I'm like, I need to go. I need to go. I need to leave. So I started looking around the con and I just said, I need to be by myself. Let me just walk around the con. So I look around, look at all the other vendors finishing their last minute setups. And I'm just looking around and I'm just kind of like navigating stuff. I'm trying to find where the Rangers are. So I'm like looking, okay, so that way that when they get here, I can beeline right for them and I can talk to them or whatever, right? Thinking that I was in the frame of mind to talk to them. I'm waiting for Honey, right? Honey was waiting in line. Honey was waiting in line. Okay, I need you to understand that Honey was waiting in line. She's a VIP, so am I, right? The event doesn't say anything about how the VIP works, right? On the website. So Honey waited in line, got in, and then they told her that she did not need to wait in line because she was VIP. Anyways, so she finds me. I find where the Rangers are. She finds me. I tell her I'm on the 3rd floor because this is a 3-floor convention. There's a bottom floor, middle floor, and high floor. So the high floor is where all the majority of the celebrities are. The middle floor is where the vendors are, and the bottom floor is where the photo ops and extra stuff happen. I'm so frustrated at this point. I'm scared. I don't know what the hell's going on. Me and Honey don't know what's going on. The only person who knows is John, my friend, and he's like, he doesn't know what's going on either, but he's done this before. So like, I'm like so confused. So apparently I'm like, okay, well, things are not running wild. This con was a mess. This con was a mess. It was such a mess. And I was scared. I was honestly scared. Anyways, so then I go down. So then Honey's like saying, well, the guy told me we have to go downstairs because to get our VIP stuff. So we go downstairs and then we find these people looking like they're giving VIP passes. So we wait in this little tiny line. We talk to the lady. The lady's like saying, you guys are not, we can take you in here, but the VIP is actually upstairs. I'm like, we just came from upstairs. They're not upstairs. What are you talking about? You're going to talk to Sabrina. I'm like, we don't know who Sabrina is. What is Sabrina? Who is Sabrina? Where is she located? She's like, she's at the information desk. We go upstairs. We go to the only place that has a desk. None of these are labeled information desk at all. So we go upstairs, we go and we look for the information desk. We see a desk where a security guard is at. I'm like, hi, we're looking for this information desk and we're trying to look for somebody named Sabrina. He's like, you see that thing over the wall where it's like near the entrance? I'm like, yeah, Sabrina's gonna be standing over there. We walk over to supposedly Sabrina. And we talked to this lady, say, excuse me, we're looking for Sabrina. Are you Sabrina? It's like, no, Sabrina's actually the woman behind me, right? And then like, I am, oh my God. And then so I see this, so I'm like looking for Sabrina. We find this woman, and I hated this woman because earlier she was being such a bitch. I couldn't stand her. She was driving me nuts because she was like, oh God. Anyways, that's another story. Anyways, I'm trying to speed through this as much as I can. So then after that, this is day one, by the way. This is not day two. This is only day one. We then, nobody knows. And, okay. Anyways, so we find the lady's on the phone. She gets off the phone. We talk to her. She says, we're looking for Sabrina. Are you Sabrina? The lady said that you're Sabrina. I'm not Sabrina. Sabrina's actually over there. And then she let us, we were in the right place. The difference is that Sabrina was at the information desk, which wasn't a desk. And the first thing that both these women said to us, how did you guys get in here if you're VIP? Huh? Anyways, I was so frustrated. We were so frustrated. We wait in line. And there's a line for the VIP, you know, so that way they can give us a wristband, they can give us our stuff. And these people were just so slow. I'm like, an hour it took us to get our stuff. We got our wristband that said VIP on it. They said that we are not allowed to take it off for the 3 days that we're there. So we're like, how are we going to take a shower with this thing on? Like all this stuff like that. Anyways, she gave us a lanyard. She gave us a Comic-Con bag. We get access to a free shirt. We get 2 coins. 1 coin is for photo ops. 1 coin is for an autograph. $50 worth each, right? And the celebrities are supposed to take them. So, me and Honey finally start navigating. Now they're letting in the public in. Okay, they're letting the public in because we get like an hour before the public actually comes in. So now this place is starting to get busy. So I already know where the Rangers are. We go there. I see, so we check our bags first just to see if we got everything. We looked at what we got. We got our comic books, some cool stuff, nothing bad. We got our shirts. And then as we're putting stuff in our bags and everything, Honey sees that the red SPD Ranger is just walking into the convention, just amongst the people, and nobody notices. Not a single person notices the existence of this person. He just had a suitcase walking randomly, and then I guess he's like looking to see where he goes. He's like saying, do you know where and I'm just like, Honey points it out, and I'm like, ah! I start screaming. But he didn't hear me, thank God, because he was a little far away, but I saw that it was him, and I clearly saw it was his face. I'm like, they just walk amongst the people like this? What? They don't get like a special entrance, back way, nothing? No. He gets up on the escalator, and I'm like, we need to follow him. So we sort of follow him, we wait for some time, and then we see him sitting at the table. And so I'm like, oh my God, I gotta talk to him. So instead we just go in. We see Elijah Wood's table. I'm like showing Honey where like all the major stars that she wants to see is at. So we see Elijah Wood's table. We see Sean Ashton's table. We see the guy who plays Gimli's table. We see like a bunch of different people's tables. Like we see Killian Lutz, Ashley Green, all these people, we see their tables. There's also some vendors here, so we're like looking at the art. That's when I find Miss Brittany Ann, and we talked to her, and we were talking to the guy who was selling these shirts. We talked to him, and we had like a really, really good thing. Like it was so fantastic. Honky Tonk Man, the wrestler, was there, just sitting there, and I felt so sad. Nobody was going to him. But he looked like he was a Trump supporter, so I didn't want to. I know that that's wrong for me assuming it, but I'm like, realistically, I know of the Honky Tonk Man, but I don't know the Honky Tonk Man. Like, it's like, I'm not there, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, right? But he was just sitting there, talking to like his assistant or whatever. And meanwhile, the SPD Ranger is the only Ranger that's at his booth at this time. Now I'm getting nervous because I'm building up the courage to go meet Brandon, aka the Red Ranger, Jack. So I'm like walking, I'm looking around. I noticed that his prices are the prices that whatever could work. And this is the part that breaks my heart. So we walk around, we get out, and we see him. And no, not season 1 Red Ranger. We're talking about SPD, the Red Ranger. SPD. He's like the guy with dreads, Jack. This is the part that breaks my heart. We walk out. He's immediately to my right. Immediately to my right. Like literally like if I held a ruler, he's that close to me. And I see him and I'm like starting to panic. And I'm just like, I'm starting to panic and I'm like trying not to cry because I'm like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? I'm such an antisocial person. I don't know how to approach people. I don't know what to say. Like, what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? And then I started crying. and then Honey has to calm me down. It's like, it's okay. Just go talk, get in line, talk. So I work up the courage and then I see Walter right next to him. Walter, the Black Ranger from season 1, Black Ranger right next to him. He got a line and nobody's talking to him. Like nobody's talking to the Red Ranger from SPD. Nobody's talking to him at all. And I'm like both sad and ecstatic about this because I'm like, maybe I can have like a legitimate conversation with him. So it looks like Walter, aka Zach, and Jack were like sharing a person. So he was handling 2 lines at one time. So I go to approach Brandon. I'm like, hi, how are you doing? I'm like, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of your work. I think you're amazing. I loved your season so much. I try to explain to him, but then all of a sudden, I don't even know if the words that I'm saying are what I'm thinking they are because I was so nervous. My hands were shaking. My legs were shaky. I was so scared. And then he talks and says, thanks, man. But it was like, in retrospect, looking back at all this, I realize that he's just doing, you know, the celebrity thing. Like he's dissociated. Like he looks dissociated. Like honestly, it looked like he kind of did before he came to the freaking convention, because at this point he looked like he was under the influence of something. Like he looked sad and it just like kind of broke my heart. And I'm just like, but he was the cheapest. He was all I can afford just in case. But like at this point, I go and I talk to him. I say, thank you so much. I said, I was wondering if I could get an autograph and a picture. And then he's like, yeah, sure. Right. And but and then I feel this is the part where I like really felt sad. I felt defeated after this part. So I'm talking to him and all this stuff like that. And then I'm trying to pay him. But what happened is he's like, do you have Zelle? And I thought that they had like a Square Reader or whatever. And apparently they do. And then the conversation was not about me talking about to him about his role or anything. It came to, how am I paying you? And then so I'm like trying to figure out the Zelle. I got to actually hold his phone and like type in my name and all this stuff like that, or my number or whatever to find it. And then I like tap it and I'm like, oh, he uses like a regular iPhone like I do. Cool. And so I'm just like, okay. So I send him the money. Once the money came in, he signs the thing. And there's like this took like I want to say like 12 to 15 minutes. And that entire time I wasn't talking. I could have been having a conversation with him. He wasn't talking to me. And I just felt so like sad. Like, I'm like, say something, Will, say something, talk to him. This is a perfect opportunity. There's no line. There's nothing. Just talk, say something. And then all of a sudden he does the thing. He takes his SPD helmet And then you've seen the picture. So I took a picture of him. He just does this real quick. His friend takes my phone and like takes like six, 7 pictures. And then all of a sudden, like afterwards, I felt both excited and just incredibly sad. Like sad, like I cried, and for multiple reasons, because I met Jack from SPD, but then I was sad because it just the conversation didn't go as well, and I wanted to go meet Walter. I really wanted to meet Walter, but then now and then I asked him about the coin, like does he take the coins as a payment? And then he's like saying, coins, I don't know about the coins. So that became a problem. They didn't know about these damn coins. And I'm like, well, we just got ripped off buying these VIP passes because one, we didn't get in fast enough. We didn't get the coins don't work. Like this was so upsetting. So afterwards, we go and we talk to somebody. We go and talk to Sabrina again. And then we tell her about the whole thing. Sabrina's cursing out. And apparently none of the people at the con were getting paid. They were all volunteers. I'm like, no wonder why none of this stuff is working out. Anyways, so we look around, and then after I got my autograph and everything, we just kind of just left and we just went home. We went home and I told my friend, I'm not going to be going back to the hotel with you guys. I'm not going to go back to the hotel with you guys. I'm just going to go home. I came home and I was just crying, sobbing hysterically. And then after I got my composure, I went on live. And then when I went on live, TikTok went offline. Like in the middle of the live stream. And then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm crying again. And then I realized that I have a freaking addiction to TikTok because I kept opening up TikTok and I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking about the whole thing. I just kept thinking about the whole thing. And then I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry that the story's taking so long, by the way. Oh God. Anyways, so then I'm like freaking out about the whole thing, and I'm noticing that the messages are changing on the thing saying Donald Trump is working on doing this stuff. And I'm like, what the and then I'm just like, oh my God, this sucks. 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 And then I got out, and then I was ready for the next day, and I was just so defeated. But this time I had Honey with me from the get-go, and I wasn't going with my friend and all that stuff. That was just my first day. My first day was miserable. It was miserable because I had just finished moving, and then I ended up doing this, and I didn't get paid for it or nothing. And I'm just like so freaking upset. And then there's a whole bunch of side stories that are happening before this event even happened. It was crazy. And I'm not done. I'm not done. The second day was a lot better. I would admit, I'm like, okay, I get this is why people are here, because it looked like people got their ish together because we did complain to Sabrina. And I believe our complaints helped because now it looked like more celebrities knew about the coins. They let us in the hour early. We went in and all this stuff like that. We went. And anyway, so Honey, I was defeated, so I decided to sit outside of the Rangers panel just so that way I can see them from afar. So I saw the red Time Force Ranger, the blue Time Force Ranger, the black Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, and I saw Jack, aka the red SPD Ranger. They were all next to each other outside by stairs. So I kind of was just staring at them from afar. I was too afraid to approach them because I thought that they were just going to ask for money, and I didn't have money, and I didn't think they were going to accept my coin or anything like that. So I forgot to say, okay, when we first got in, I paid for the photo opportunity for the black Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. I felt like he was the most important Ranger of all. Like, I have to get it. That's a full circle moment. I need to get him. If any of the Rangers, it's him that I need to get. So I Oh, so then, anyway, so I'm just sitting there and I'm just watching, and Walter seems like such a nice guy because he was like dancing with fans. He was dancing salsa and all this stuff like that with fans and all this stuff. He was sitting there, he was talking to them, but it's just like I had no money and I just felt like I wasn't worthy enough because of my situation that I had with the red SPD Ranger. It felt like it was a very money transactional thing. So I felt like I couldn't approach these celebrities because I didn't want to waste their time because they're there to make money. And so that just like broke my heart. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could have had long conversations. They're just sitting there like this or talking amongst each other or whatever. But it's just like, I could have approached them. Nobody was there to see them. The only Ranger that they were there to see was Walter, because a lot of Power Ranger fans don't watch Power Rangers after Mighty Morphin. And so I'm just like, this is such a sad thing. We go in. We see Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is like right in the corner of us. We see all of them right there. We go in, honey, we go in and the line is huge. Everybody's there to see Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. They're there to see the Lord of the Rings people. This con was busy. So now we got in a whole hour beforehand and honey was getting scared. Honey got scared. And honey got scared and I'm like trying to persuade her to get in. I'm like, girl, get in line now, use the poster, do whatever. I gave her my autograph token because I said, I'm not going to use this. I can't use this. So I just gave her, because I was going to get Jason Font's autograph, if anything, or I was going to get Michael Coupon. I'm sitting there and then I call my friend Dre and I'm talking to Dre while she's getting her autographs because I'm not waiting in the line. That thing was getting packed and I was getting like very like it was too much for me. So I sit down on the steps and then they said, because now people are now coming in, the main public is coming in, and I'm just like, what is going on? What is happening? I'm just like freaking out and more people are coming in and I'm just like losing my mind and I'm like keeping my eye on the Rangers like I'm crazy. No, I didn't go with Dre. I was on the phone with Dre. So it was just me and honey. And then so I'm like sitting out there and I didn't want to go see my friend. I didn't want to see my friend John at the booth or anything like that. I didn't really want to acknowledge that right now. I didn't want to deal with that. Today was about fun. Today was about me. And today was about, I don't want to deal with anybody's issues right now. Like, no offense. I dealt with that the day before. I had a bad time. I'm not doing that this time around. So I go and I sit there and I'm just like, I feel so defeated. Anyways, so honey gets all 3 of her autographs. And then so we go downstairs and then she's like, we go downstairs, we get our photo out. Wait, I forgot exactly what we did. We were looking for the panels. So we were trying to find the panels, but there's no signs to let us know where these panels are. There's nobody that's around that we can find or talk to. And then the people that we did talk to didn't know where the panels were. They just said they're downstairs. So we're looking and we're trying to find things. We find a little paper and the paper said something about here. We're going down these hallways and we can't find the panels at all. We can't find panel 1. We're looking for panel hall A. We found panel hall B and C, but could not find A. To find out that A was in the very, very top. We go there and this is finally where the con actually gets good. So we go there, we go to the top, we end up going in there and there's hardly anybody here at the panel. They're already on the first panel, which is Weekend at Bernie's panel. So we go, we sit in the very front row, right? We sit in the front row. We sat in the very, very front row on the side and we're watching the Weekend at Bernie's. People are asking them questions and I'm like, oh, I could ask a question, but I'm too nervous. There's people here. There wasn't that many people there. Like, if I could literally count, there was probably like 30 people in this big ass auditorium, but 30 people were like there. So it felt like it was empty. They sit there, they're answering the questions. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Weekend at Bernie's. I'm learning all these really cool facts and stuff like that. And all the stuff, like the guy from Mannequin was there. Like the entire cast of Weekend at Bernie's was there. And so they were like talking back and forth. It felt really, really cool. and they were like talking about like their families and all this other stuff. Anyways, next was the Power Rangers con, right? So the Power Rangers panel was next. We moved our seats. People had left, so we moved directly to the front, and we sat there. We were like looking at them. We can clearly see the middle of them. We were there. We were right in front of the microphone. And then Honey kept telling me, Will, you better ask a question. This is your once and only time. This is going to be your moment where you are not going to do whatever, where you're not going to do this stuff. We see there. So all the Rangers were there. So it was Min from Once and Always. It was Jason Faust, the Red Time Force Ranger, Michael Coupon, the Blue Time Force Ranger, Brandon, aka the Red, Jack, the Red SPD Ranger, and then Zach, the Black Power Ranger. They all sit in the panel. They're all sitting right there. And I'm just, and people are asking, and they're talking, they're going back and forth. The moderator was a last minute adjustment. So he doesn't know anything past Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He doesn't know any of the other Rangers. And Brandon just kind of looks like Jack, SPD Ranger, looks like he's not even there. He's just kind of there. Like when he answers, he's very nice. But then other than that, he's just kind of like this. I'm like, damn, man, this dude is on something, or he just woke up or something. Like there's just something off about him. I don't know. And then I sit there. Walter's pretty much doing all the work, but everybody kept asking Min. Then there's this one guy, and he clearly has autism. No offense, but he comes in and then he asks, like, in the most rude way, these questions. So he asked us questions in a really rude way. You know what he said? He's like, first of all, I've never seen any other Power Rangers besides Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. My favorite Power Ranger is Jason David Frank. And I'm sorry, I don't know any of you. He's like, I don't know any of you guys, but Jason David Frank is my favorite. To the guy, I don't know your name. Who was the Ranger that was from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? And Walter's like, oh, me. And then he's like, you. Okay. How was it working with Jason David Frank? Because he's my favorite actor. Like, what? Then they have him ask another question, because he kept going, thinking that he could like have a gazillion questions. Almost thought I wasn't going to get my turn. Then all of a sudden he talks to you, the Min. He's like, you, Yellow Ranger, you. He said, and then she's like, yeah. He's like, I never seen your show or your series, but like, is it like, what's it about? And then he's like, he's like, what's it about? And then so she has to explain what it's about. He's like, oh, that sounds good. He's like, oh, that sounds good. And I'm like, anyways, I was after that. Okay, so I raised my hand. He's like, you in the blue. I'm like, oh, thank God. He calls me. I'm the last question. I'm the last question. So I got to stand up and I walk to the mic, and all Rangers' eyes are on me. All of them are on me. All of them are on me. So, and you'll get the actual video of what I actually said.
Are you excited? Woo!
Jason Faust and Michael, come on, go ahead and turn your name badges around so everybody can see who you are, what you've taken your seats, everybody. Welcome to Albuquerque, everybody. Here you go. Oh, someone can't correct. Thank you all for coming to Albuquerque, and air basing, air guitar.
Oh, thank you guys so much. You guys have been such huge heroes for me and for a TikTok, and all the fans watch with me, and I've been kind of going on this journey where I've been watching all the old Power Ranger shows, Mighty Morphin all the way up to Once and Always. And so I just recently finished a project back in November. I called it Project Jason. And so my fans wanted me to ask you specifically. They wanted to know that you recently had a Power Rangers, there was an auction that happened recently, and that a lot of the stuff from the franchise was sold. And they just wanted to know what your feelings were on that specifically.
You know what, there's a couple of things. One, it should have been offered to us. I think that would have been nice for them to offer, especially emergencies, to offer something that we started and it's grown to be as popular as it's been in 40 countries and many languages. But on the other side of that, there's this. I'm not a collector, but we have tons of fans that are collectors. And I think if someone from the fandom got a piece for Power Rangers, that it would mean so much more to them than it would mean to me. They're gonna make sure that it's displayed in the proper way. It's gonna be, maybe put up in a, they'll take great care of it. For me, it's part of my history, but it's not the same. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I had the Power Axe, I'll probably put it up somewhere, but I think it would mean so much more to somebody else that was a fan of the show. They go, I got the original Power Axe. So I was excited that the fans had access to some of the original things from the show. And I'm okay that they didn't offer it to me, but it would have been nice.
Anyone else have thoughts on it, or was it just
we all feel the same with that. I think that it would have been cool to offer that. At first, it's the the franchise is worth billions of dollars. It would have been awesome to have that, hanging out. I mean, some crazy people bought their own stuff, but
Listen, I wasn't gonna be outbid on mine, so I did.
Jason called me crying. He was like, bro, I just spent the house. I could have bought another house and I bought my suit.
I took my original cadet jacket, so I'm with you. I stole that shit. Like, I'm taking this. Waiting on you. Fire me, it's the last episode.
Dude, a week before the end of the show, they literally hid all our stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because JDF apparently took so much stuff that they were like, we've had Rangers in the past that have taken all our stuff, so we're gonna give you that. They gave us the outfits we wear every day, like my all black with the blue shirt, which I still have. I think you got your khaki pants on. They gave us that. We were like, bro, we wear that every day. We're still singing that out.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that it came up, and I felt the same. But I was going, you know what? I'm gonna buy my suit. I'm one of those guys that's like, no, I'm gonna bid on my own stuff, and I got it. And so they did send it to me. It's pretty cool. Like, my name's in it. It's it. And I think that, and I don't know what I'll do with it. I mean, I have an office, and maybe I'll do something fun where I have a lot of this stuff up there. I'm not a collector per se, but I figure if I have all these cool action figures, and I can put, I might as well display it somewhere. And so I got it, and there it is.
Jason's the only one that can fit in his old costume.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Question was a great question.
So I sit there and I'm looking at the Rangers are looking at my eyes, all of them, and I'm like trying to think of a question that I can ask them. And I wanted to ask all of them, but unfortunately I couldn't come up with a question to add Min into it. So what I said was I asked him a question. I basically said, this is like me paraphrasing. This is not exactly what I said. I said, hi, I just want to thank you all for being like such heroes in all of our lives. You are all truly amazing characters and you guys do the characters such justice. I do a TikTok. And I've been working on a project called Project Jason, where I'm watching the entirety of Power Rangers this year, just to kind of go over the nostalgia of my life. And, using that, and Power Rangers has been a really big inspiration to that. And I just want to thank you all so much for doing that. My question is, we collectively came up with this question and the fans wanted to know. Recently, there was an auction that happened for the Power Rangers where they were giving away a lot of your guys' stuff. And I just wanted to know what your guys' thoughts and opinions were on that. And so Walter answers first. He says, honestly, they should have gave it to me. They should have gave me something. He said, honestly, he's like, I'm not a collector, but I would take the Power Axe and I would hang it up on my wall. He's like, I have all these other toys of me being the Black Ranger. I would have loved to have the original stuff. But then he says, at the same time, I understand why fans would want to collect stuff, to say that I actually got the thing from the show, that I actually got this stuff. So it's like, on one hand, I'm not opposed to it nor against it, but he wishes that I would have had it. And then so so that was Walter's answer. Then Michael Cupone said, he says, I think that the fans should have definitely gotten it. He agreed that the fans should have gotten it. Min didn't say anything, unfortunately. Brandon's like, I got my cadet jacket from SPD, so I'm good. Min's like, well, like, she had her helmet, so clearly she couldn't contribute because this didn't really affect her in any way, shape, or form. And then the last one, Jason Font literally says to me, he says, well, I bid it on my outfit. He said, I bid it on my costume. Not sorry. And then Michael Cupone's like, yo, you spent rent money, and they were just joking and bantering. And I'm just standing there and I'm like laughing, but like, it was just a surreal moment. It was just crazy. And I'm just like, oh my God. So he bought his own outfit. He bought his outfit. So he's the original owner of his outfit. He's like, I might as well. But I learned some tea. They were allowed to keep the civilian clothes, but they weren't allowed to keep the Ranger stuff. So that was crazy, right? And so then after that, I was the last question. I said, thank you all so much. I go back, I sit down. They finished the panel. Poor Min. Okay, you got to understand that Min is the newest Ranger. She's the newest Ranger. They told her to sing and to dance and to do this martial arts thing, which she's crazy, by the way. I love it. I love it.
No pressure.
Work.
Exciting. And oh, you missed the majority of the story, Aura, because I was emotional. I was an emotional wreck all day. After that, I cried a little bit in my seat after they had left, and it was just me and Honey in the aisle, and we're just like, it's like, it feels like a full circle moment. It feels like a full circle moment. Like, I started the project and now I'm here because of that project. And then they low-key looked at me. They looked at me. They know me. They seen my face. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is such a full circle moment. Like, I would not have bought the tickets if it wasn't for the fact that I did this project. Like, I bought the tickets in September and I wasn't even ever considering going to a Comic-Con. It was honestly because of them that I did the Comic-Con. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I'm just like, and then Honey is like trying to say, well, you know, Honey's being happy, but at the same time, whatever. I said, well, when the Lord of the Rings comes on, you better ask a question. And then she's like, I knew she wasn't going to do it. Anyways, so we sit there. She got her autographs already. So we're just sitting there and we're just watching every panel. We don't have to move. We're there in the first row and we watch. So after the Power Ranger panel was a Breaking Bad panel. After the Breaking Bad panel was an X-Men 97 panel. And then after that was the Lord of the Rings one. And it was crazy. He said, oh yeah, you're right. They ignored you. I'm sorry. My bad, girl. My bad. They ignored you. Yeah, she did have her hand up. I will admit that. She did. She did. That's right. My bad. My memory is a little messy. Sorry. But it's just, anyway, so she did have her hand up. They just didn't pick her, and like everybody was there. But anyways, we had the Breaking Bad thing. That was actually a really cool thing that they did. So the Breaking Bad was actually like really, really cool. Like we just kind of sat there, we chilled, we had a good time. It was fun. It was fun to like know the stuff because the show is done in this city. So it was just funny. After that, after we were done with that, we ended up we saw the X-Men 97 panel, and the guy who voices Beast was there, the guy who voices Mr. Sinister was there, the guy who did the original Gambit but now does who did he voice? I forgot. He voices another X-Men. I think it's Magneto. I don't know. He voiced somebody else. And then we had Jean Grey and the guy who does Wolverine. And so, and plus the creator was also there. So we had like a big conversation with them. No, we didn't have a conversation. I'm sorry. We were just watching them and they were having a conversation and people asked questions. I didn't watch X-Men 97. So like, I only watched the original stuff. So we kind of sat there, and then Beast's voice actor is so funny. He just looked like he was just like this entire time. And then he says, somebody asked about AI. Somebody said that AI, like asked a question about AI, and they're like, AI is horrible. And he said something. He says AI is the devil or something like that. He's like, why would humanity create something to destroy themselves essentially? And I'm like, good point. You know, taking jobs and they don't like it and all that stuff. And then the voice actress of Jean Grey was basically saying all these things. I don't think she voices Jean Grey in the new series. She voiced Jean Grey back in the old series, but she was a part of it in the new series, and she voices like some new character in the show. But like, yeah, it was the OGG. And then so she did that. That was fun. And then after that was done, we had the Lord of the Rings session. And now that's when VIP became a problem all of a sudden. You need to be VIP to sit in the front row. Well, me and Honey were already in the front row, had our VIP passes, lifted it up and say, learn your acronyms, VIP, bitch. And then so we kind of just had our stuff. I'm like, VIP, we're not moving. We're staying right here. And so we did. And then anyways, so then they were telling certain people to move. They're like, are you not VIP? Raise your hand. Stupid people actually raised their hand. So then they just left. They left because these people weren't checking. They just left. And then because I guess people were complaining, and so VIP people ended up sitting in the front. And we just ended up sitting there. The first thing these Lord of the Rings people just thought was a good idea is like, let's have a group photo. So now the auditorium is packed at this point. The auditorium is packed, and I'm like, I'm not losing my damn seat. Absolutely not. I'm like, this is dumb that all of these people are getting up and then we lose our damn seat. Nope, not happening. So we get up, they get up, and then they take their little picture. All these people are in the way, all the Lord of the Rings costumes, stuff like that. They go back, they sit down. We end up so we end up seeing them. We're like looking, we're like fascinated, like you know, it was cool. They were doing back and forth. Little Miss Sean Astin, Sam. Oh, you can't even see it. Sam. Whatever. Sam from Lord of the Rings. He talks a lot. Like a lot. Okay? Like he is talking Elijah's barely talking, but then Gimli is so funny. I loved Gimli so much. Gimli was so funny because he's so British, and it's just like, it's so nice to see somebody with that energy like that, like, you know, because I've never seen anybody with that energy in real life before, only like on TV. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like, yeah, he said that he hated the Lord of the Rings books. He hated it, but then he grew to like the series, you know, once he realized like how big it was and where he was and all that stuff like that. Like, he just couldn't get the material because he just couldn't get into it. But then, yeah, anyways, Sean is like apparently gonna be a politician at some point. I don't know. And then they were talking about, anyways, then when it got to question time, they only had enough time for one question. And now I'm also starting to panic because I paid for a photo op and we got to get our asses out. And I'm like, there's too many people here for us to just sit here. So I'm like panicking in my seat. I'm like, come on, we got to end it. And then so this woman asked a question, and, you know, all this stuff like that. I guess maybe it was like one or two questions, I don't remember, from fans. It sucked. The fans were so sad. Anyways, they finished the panel. We left. I tried to beeline it to the bottom, whatever. We got into the room, and then we get into the room to wait for Walter, but they have multiple lines. So Vernon Hills was there. Chandler Biggs from Walking Dead, he plays Carl, was taking pictures. So it was just like, they like called a celebrity, bring them down, they take their little pictures, and then they leave, right? Well, my turn came. Well, I was waiting in the line. Walter had the longest line out of everybody there, and it was only 5 people. That was it. Only 5 people in that line. That's it. Taking a picture, that was it. 5 people. I was number 4, and this bitch in the front decides that she wants to be Little Miss Diva and Rita bitch for wearing a Blue Ranger outfit. It's like, there's a blue background and I wonder how the blue's gonna look on there. Honey wanted to kick his ass for me. At that point, I wasn't mentally paying attention to him. Literally. Yes, literally. Literally, that's how Honey was reacting in her mind. We go, this person takes his little freaking picture. He's like, which one should I have him hold? Whatever. We get in there. He takes his little picture. I don't give a shit. I go and I talk to Walter. I'm like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. He gives me a fist bump. We go, he does the pose. Everything's fine. Take the picture. The lady didn't give me enough time to really like make a pose or whatever, so I just do a fist. I couldn't like get myself ready, set up, you know, whatever. And then so my face looks ugly in this picture, and I hated it. When I got the picture, I was like, oh my god, I hate it. Like, Walter looks flawless, I don't. And I hated it, but I'm like, I have to learn to love it. And then so it was Honey's turn, and so we try to find a place because now it's getting busy. Now the Lord of the Rings people came here. The line was for them. This whole event was for them. I get a call from my friend, John. He tells me, oh, well, it's so busy in here. The place is sold out. I'm like, no, duh. I'm here. Like, I see that. Anyways, I go and I sit down, and then I see him. We sit down, and then she goes in the line and she's waiting, and so I'm just sitting there, and this is my version of the event. So I sit down, and then she's like telling me, am I supposed to stand in line? Am I not supposed to stand in line? Can you go and ask? So I lose my spot, my sitting spot, and I ask the people, does my friend have to stay in line for the VIP? They're like, well, the guy told me that they're doing trio VIPs, then they're doing the trios, then they're gonna do the VIPs for the duos, and then the regular stuff. So I said, oh, okay, this guy knows something, but I should have known better. We should have known better. They didn't call VIP for duos. So Miss Honey had to stay in that line with the bums, the peasants, and she's Miss VIP. It was a nightmare for Miss Honey. People were ghetto and stuff, and she'll be able to tell that side of the story because I wasn't there. So I don't know. I just know that the line was crazy long. Anyways, so I get on the phone with Dre again, just to talk, because I need somebody to talk to in that moment. And so I'm like sitting there. Oop, I didn't mean to switch that. Oopsie. Anyways, so I end up sitting there, and then as I'm on the phone, freaking Carl from The Walking Dead is this close to my face. He's like right here, almost like he wants to ask for directions to someplace. I'm like, I just saw you in there. You're out here. And he's like with I think his mom. And I'm like, what? And then he just walks amongst the crowd. Nobody knows it's him. Nobody. And I'm just like, huh? And then so I find a space on the floor. So I sit on the floor. And then as I sit on the floor, I'm almost done with the story. I apologize. I sit on the floor. And so I'm just talking and everything's fine, right? And I'm like close to the edge. And out of nowhere, Elijah Wood is trying to find a place to get to take the pictures. Elijah Wood walks past me. He's like literally right here. Like he could have tripped if my arm just stretched just slightly. Just slightly. He would have tripped because he wasn't looking. He didn't look in my direction or nothing. He just walked. He's like looking and whatever. And then the fans started to realize it was him. They started to realize it was him. And they're like, ah! And then he ended up walking away. So he ended up finding a thing. And it was anyways. So then I'm waiting for Miss Honey to get her picture, but it's like taking a little bit long, but it's not her fault. You know, VIP apparently just wasn't the vibe. We sat there. I sat there. And then Miss Rainbow Honey found that her friend was there. So her friend came out, saw me, showed me her picture. Her picture was all grandiose and nice and so cool and everything. We talked for a little bit, and then we leave. Then Honey comes out, and then I look at her picture. Her picture looks amazing. It looks wonderful. She looks glamorous in it, and I'm just like, well, okay, fine, cool. I was jealous because she had a better picture than mine. Anyways, so then she's telling me like what happened, that people were being ghetto and fighting with the people at the event. It was the worst thing ever. We leave, we come home, and then we come home and I'm like, thank goodness that was done. That was over with. Oh, TikTok ended this day. And then that's when I did all my stuff. And I kind of sat there and I was just taking, like, once TikTok was there, I don't know what happened. I just started to feel this massive sense of depression. It just hit me so hard. And then I realized what happened. I forgot to take my medication, not the following day, because I was just kind of just laying in bed and I didn't want to get up, and I totally forgot that I took my medication. So I got hella emotional all day. Went to go see the movie, recorded the pod. So if you guys don't hear me talk on the pod much, it's because I was crying and I couldn't talk. And so just understand, it's a good episode. It's a great episode. So please listen to the episode, but just know that that's why I'm not talking. And then I came home and I just took my medicine finally, and then it went away and I was okay. But then I was just like, what was that about? What was that about? I'm like, there's no way. And I just kept hearing random things and seeing random things. And I just kept like, I'm like, wow, I'm aware, I'm sober. And all of a sudden now I'm just like, what is going on? And so that's what happened. So that was the entirety of my Comic-Con experience. We didn't go the final day. We didn't want to. And then I found out that they didn't let anybody in. Not everybody made it to Comic-Con because they oversold on the tickets. So there were people waiting in line all day and they had to tell them to go home. Like nobody walked out and told them nothing. They just told them to go home and that they can come in the next day. And then on Sunday, the VIPs got treated like crap because of the fact that they had to wait just like everybody else. So thank goodness we didn't go. Thank goodness we didn't go. So we both got everything that we wanted. We got everything that we wanted. We were done. And it was a fun experience. Messy as hell. I will never do a vending booth again for as long as I live. And I don't know if I ever want to do something like this again, unless if I'm like heavily medicated. But like that was a lot. It was a lot. And that's the story. I know that took a very, very long time to explain. That took what, like an hour? My God. But I wanted those who were here, I wanted y'all to know the whole story. That is the whole thing. So if I'm absent on this episode, y'all know my side of the story. Y'all know what happened on that whole thing. So though I'm not talkative in the episode, I'm talkative now, and I got over that thing. So just to give you guys the heads up. All right.